I'm Amy, sex educator, somatic sex and relationship coach, and sex shop owner.
And I'm April, VP of an international high-end pleasure products company and boss queen sex toy mogul. We're best friends who make our own rules about who we are as sexual beings.
With everything from how to be a badass in the bedroom to top tips for bringing your relationship to the next level, we have something just for you.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Don't forget to head on over to our website at shamelesssex.com for more. And for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code SHAMELESSPP in all caps at purepleasureshop.com. Well, hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
What a jolly day.
We're back in Santa Cruz.
We're back.
What a jolly day.
We miss you, New York. I'm actually really happy to be back in Santa Cruz because it's fall 2018 and I love fall.
Pumpkin.
I know.
Everywhere. Pumpkin in your bum.
Pumpkins.
Pumpkin in your hair.
Pumpkin in your bum?
Pumpkin snowflakes.
What?
Everywhere.
I still want to know about this bum.
I just wanted to rhyme some things.
Pumpkin in your bum? Pumpkin in your bum.
I don't know. I just saw some pumpkin cereal in my cabinet via my partner's child. She's not really a child. She's 14. But I'm just saying she likes pumpkin things.
I'd eat it. I love pumpkin
We
things.
can go sample it after this episode.
Ooh, yeah. I like making pumpkin waffles, pumpkin everything, pumpkin cookies. You just got me excited. Okay, anyways, enough about pumpkin. So this episode is very exciting. We have a straight male escort, also known as a gigolo. We found out that is PC, at least he said it was okay on the episode, so we're really excited. And yes, it maybe is a little bit heteronormative in that he is a straight male escort who only works with straight women, so he is speaking from that perspective. So if that's not your jam, then it might not be your jam. Otherwise, there's a lot of really interesting things there to listen to.
He's got a lot to share, so stay tuned.
Well, how many times do you
it.
get to listen to a straight male escort
Never,
talking
but that was
about
my first time.
Yeah.
Besides when I watched that Showtime series, Gigolos.
Which is a TV show. Now you get like, this is a real human.
I know. I was like, how does that work?
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. So that's coming up. But before we dive into the podcast, some announcements. Numero uno, our online video series is coming out.
It's so dope.
Woohoo! It's coming out the end of October. This is 2018. So October 30th is our launch date. It goes October 30th to November 20th. It is 4 weeks, and we have already sold a couple spots, and we have limited capacity.
Really, I can't even say it, but I'm so excited. I'm like,
speaking our own language.
I'm really excited because it's such a great 4-week series. Like, I've taken other really amazing 4-week courses from like famous authors, and ours is so badass. It's just as good, if not better. So it's worth it, the investment. And if you don't get in this first release of ours, the first probably round 40 or 50 people that we accept.
I think we're only doing 30.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, you don't remember. Oh, yeah, we talked about this.
Shit. Maybe I was drinking wine.
Yeah, she drank some wine.
But we can't accept that many because we're doing video calls with this. So you'll have a chance to talk with Amy and I directly in the flesh, real time. That won't be offered to the folks afterwards. So
yeah,
get in now.
Get it now. So that in this round you get it's 4 weeks, but you get a video every week. Then there's also a live video call once per week, and that's with a big group. And then there's also a Facebook group that's a private group to interact with us and all of your other female identified folks. So this round, it's erotic empowerment workshop. So turn into your most badass erotic self. Get clear on who you really are as a sexual being, and start making your own rules for your sexuality. For female identified folks, I hope to see you there. Go to our website. Yes. Shamelesssex.com, and if you go under the online video series, it's there. And we again only limited spots. April thought it was 50. It's more like 30. And so
I tend to exaggerate things. And I was like, there's 50 lucky people in the United States and or all over the globe that can be a part of this. We don't do it in any other languages because obviously we're Americans usually.
I was
that joke. Remember that joke that I told that one time?
What was that joke?
Like, what do you call a person that speaks 2 languages?
Not American?
No. What do you call it?
Someone's bilingual.
What do you call a person that speaks 3 languages?
Trilingual.
What do you call a person that speaks 1 language?
American.
Yep. So yeah. Anyway.
Oh God. Not PC, but I like it.
Is that a microaggression?
I was teaching April about microaggressions the other day. I mean, anything that microaggression is like this subtle underground underlying way that we say a like racist or aggressive thing that we don't even know we're doing it sometimes, or we
like
do.
I always grew up saying I'm gonna sit Indian style, and I'm like,
Yes.
that isn't totally not
micro
PC.
Indian style, Indian burn. Yeah, yes, complete microaggression.
So I'm trying to be mindful of that, and I'm not doing that anymore. I say cross-legged now.
Yeah, and then there's like the other part of it, like people are so exhausted with having to be so politically correct, and I understand that too. I understand that that stepping, you want to like feeling like you're walking on eggshells is exhausting. So I think the best we can do is try our best, and if someone corrects us, is just to say, "Oh, I didn't know that. Can you explain more about that?" And I will try better next time.
So if
That's
my
it.
joke offended you, Amy, I'm sorry.
I wasn't
Americans.
offended. Monty, the dog, is very offended that he's looking at you right now. He hates you.
I wish that I was better at speaking languages.
I know.
So maybe my lack of being able to attain languages is because I like to drink wine.
That might be it.
And Margins wine.
I saw that she's making new wine.
Sangiovese, and she's making Pinot Noir.
I saw both of them on her Instagram.
I know.
I'm very excited.
If you all aren't involved in receiving her newsletter, she doesn't send out very many newsletters at all, but when she does, it's about her reserved amount of wine that she makes. And her name's Megan Bell, local Santa Cruz wine, but it can be shipped all over the country, the United States. There's only a couple of exceptions. But check out her website. It's marginswine.com. And if you want to buy 3 or more bottles, you save 10% at checkout. You just use the code ShamelessSex10. But if you buy a half a case or 6 or more bottles and use the code ShamelessSex15, you can get 15% off. And I hate to tell you this right now when we're recording this, she's almost tapped out of wine. I don't think she has anything available besides her Chenin Blanc. However, you can use those coupon codes for her new releases, the Sangiovese, along with the Pinot Noir that will hopefully be done maybe next month, October.
I don't know. I don't know how wine works. I saw her bottling it, so I don't know.
Oh, well, yes.
Sure.
If she's bottling it, then it's ready. Then it'll probably hit the shelves soon. So sign up,
So excited.
get her newsletter, go buy the wine. Maybe you can pre-order it. I
It's
actually don't know.
Raw wine, people. Raw wine is as organic as it gets. Woman-owned and operated, delicious wine. And I've told you this before, but April is a motherfucking wine snob, and she loves this wine. So
I'm like wine club member. I'm like I am kind of a wine
snob
connoisseur. I
Yeah.
prefer. Because snob makes me sound bitchy.
You're not bitchy, Chip.
I'm not bitchy.
You're not actually. Yeah, that's true. When you're ordering wine in the restaurant, you're not bitchy. You're always really nice. April's a wonderful person to wait on, also because you did work in restaurants for about 10
Right.
years.
Yeah. I'm mindful of the folks. I stack the plates.
Yeah, she does.
And I'm really nice to people in the service industry. I'm like, why wouldn't you be nice to them?
This is why I think everyone who eats at a restaurant should work in a restaurant at least for like 2 days.
At least for 2 days
So you
to
can
get a sense of
understand.
urgency.
Yeah, to understand. It's like one of the most intense jobs, and that's not true. People work in the ER. There's plenty of them.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, I mean, no one's gonna die. It's actually not the most intense job. someone someone in the
We
ER
need that
is
pizza,
like, yeah, I'm gonna
pepperoni
die.
pizza stat.
but people act that way though.
I know
If
they
you
do.
could take
I'm
two,
hungry. I'm like,
2
I'm
minutes
sorry.
too long to get their table, it's like the world exploded.
Or
and
you
you're
have
dying.
a table of like 6 individuals that really need a cocktail because it's super awkward. And you're like, hi. They're like, I need a drink. I'm like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Awkward
I
silence.
feel like I've been on both sides of that before.
Oh.
Okay, so another announcement. If you are in Santa Cruz, everyone, and you are a parent and you have children of all ages, whether you have a child that is a newborn and will soon, not soon, at someday be a sexually active teen, sexually active person, or if you have a sexually active teen, there's a workshop in Santa Cruz. There's 2 different nights. It's October 24th is one of the options, and that's at Luma Yoga Studio. It's called Let's Talk About Sex, a workshop for parents, and you come. It's a 2-hour class, and you learn about how to talk to your kids about sex. And again, even if your kids are not even close to being sexually active, can still give you the information, even how to talk to young people about sex way before they're
So if
sexually
you
active.
have a 10-year-old or 11-year-old that eventually will be
Yes.
sexually active, because we all will get there.
Yeah, at some point. And I
Go to
actually
this class.
said the date incorrectly, because October 24th is actually at Pure Pleasure, because we're doing it 2 different days, 2 different weeks. So October 24th, 2018, it's a workshop is at Pure Pleasure. You can sign up at purepleasureshop.com. And if you can't make that one, October 17th, it is at Luma Yoga Studio, and it is the same exact workshop. They're just 2 different nights, because A lot of folks can only make it one different night. So that is also available to you, and I recommend it because, oh yeah, I didn't say, I'm one of the teachers. Haha, that's happening too. I'm one of the teachers alongside Gina Lepore. Gina is an awesome sex educator. She has a master's in human sexuality, also has 2 kids of her own. So
Didn't you do a podcast with her in the beginning?
We did, yeah, a while ago in the beginning of the Shameless Sex Days.
Sex with teenagers, or
yes,
I wasn't on it, but I listened to it and it was great.
Yeah. I think it was called Let's Talk About Sex. And now we're just, though we used to do these workshops. It was for parents to come with their kids, and we will probably still do that in the future. But we're trying this new round of just talking to the parents, just getting to the parents by themselves.
That's wise.
Yeah, it's a little scary to go with your kid.
And sometimes you're not comfortable enough to open that subject up to your child. Or again, like you said, they're not sexually active yet, you think, you know, so you can kind of get the tools necessary to guide them through that process.
Yeah.
What about Pure Pleasure? Don't you have something cool happening with this month's special?
Pure Pleasures. I don't even know the October special yet.
Oh, no.
I need because I haven't made the newsletter. That's probably why.
Oh.
But we always have 15% off for our listeners, and that's off the entire store. If you use coupon code SHAMELESSPP in all caps, you get all sex toys, all the things at 15% off. Don't forget to use it. We've had a lot of sales at Pure Pleasure. I've heard that they've been selling a lot of the Hot Octopus toys these days.
Oh.
Selling really well.
Give a little shout out to my Hot Octopus team there in London, England. What?
I like the way that you say that.
London, do you know
when speaking of shout outs, our interns.
Oh.
We love our interns.
Our interns are really like, how they're my spirit animals, and I don't say that about everyone that's very California, but like, you're my spirit animal. But they're both my spirit animal, like my little unicorns of amazingness. And can we say their names on air? I don't even know.
We should talk to them first.
We will. We'll ask.
But
make
we'll
sure
just
it's
say
consensual.
that right, as for now, we have 2 interns, and we are super stoked on you all. And for everyone else who applied who didn't get the intern job, we were so happy to see that 30 of you sent us emails.
More, probably, I think closer to 40.
It was awesome, and it just made us feel so loved and so supported, and it just, we needed it too. Like, with having these interns has been really, really helpful, and it's only helping us to grow and to get the message out there, and to continue doing what we do,
to help answer sex questions when we had.
Oh, geez.
I know, an abyss. Although now we haven't answered any because they're in a special folder.
Well, we did 2 weeks ago, but
are
you saying that now we made it worse? Now we're never
I'm now it's not on my radar as much.
No, because it's not as stressful. No, we just need to go. Yeah. So we're still doing that. We're still answering sex questions, but now we have support in terms of which sex questions to answer. So thank you, interns.
Do you know what I'm even more excited about?
What is that, Chip?
Oh, so I have actually discovered how to make what I thought was good sex, even borderline great sex. I figured out how to make it even better.
What did you do?
So I went on to OMGS, which you've talked about for years now.
It's like, oh my God, yes.
Oh my God, yes.
OMGS.com.
And I started checking out what their offerings are. And at first I was like, wait, how does this all work? And then I realized it's interactive and it's really fucking cool. And give them the rundown, because you're the one that kind of has told me about it over the years, and I finally checked it out.
I have been fascinated with OMGS for a long time. I should say that slower, OMGS.com. So OMGS is it is educational, but what I will say is for the most part, the biggest piece is that it's offering people how to take good sex to great sex. How to, if you already think that you knew all the things of how to have really good and connected sex, how to pleasure your body, how to pleasure another body. And this is specifically about female body folks, because it's about vulvas for the season 1 and season 2. How to take it up a notch. Like, if you thought you already knew all the things, and then you watch these videos and you're like, what? I didn't know about swirls and spirals and edging. And then you try these things on your body or another body, and all of a sudden you've added all these other things to the menu that you didn't even know were possible, that porn is not showing you.
I was usually just like,
or just take a vibrator on there.
Well, no, with my hands even. Yeah. I was always like, because honestly, I'm a vibrator. I'm in the vibrator world. Like, I have a lot of vibrators, but when I'm on the road, half the time I either have my sales kit, which I'm not going to use because it's...
You have other strangers holding it in their hands.
And I just am not comfortable with that. So I use my hand, and I just keep discovering myself through what they're offering because they did research
Yeah.
with actual humans.
They did the first round was 1,000 women for this one. So the season 1 on OMGS, it's all external vulva stimulation. So they show you all these different ways that you can touch a vulva with your hands externally and how these women are having orgasms. And there's even interactive modules you can practice the strokes. And the best thing about the practice is that you actually get the experience of what it gets to get feedback. Like you practice strokes and you actually get the experience of that communication that can happen in sexuality. So
which communication sounds like a word, but it's actually
no one wants the word.
No, it's
you're like learning a new language. Like you're speaking the language of sex.
Well, it's like looking at a menu and not even knowing that it existed. Something that
it's like
you
me
didn't
looking
even
at a wine
think
menu
about.
and be like Sangiovese.
Yeah, or being like, I didn't even know that was an offering that was on the table in the world today. Like your imagination couldn't even think it up.
So this has really upped your sex life. You're understanding your own body and
I'm only a little bit into it. There's 60 some offerings.
There's a lot in there.
And they're coming out with another one.
Season 2 is coming out. So season 1 is available now and folks can buy season 1 right now. And season 2 is coming out. And for season 2, it is going to be all internal stimulation. And the people at OMGS even gave us a code to give you alls so that you can get a discount. So if you go to omgs.com/shameless, then you get $5 off. And the $5 off, you get $5 off of the season. And that's all you buy is a season. It's not a subscription. When you buy it one time, then you own it forever. You can watch the videos over and over and over again forever. And so it's essentially buying an online season.
There's so many that you have access to them for an eternity.
So if you want to up your game and you like vulvas, you love vulvas, you have a vulva, you admire vulvas, this is for you. And look out for season 2. Super excited. Internal stimulation, G-spot. I'm so excited about that.
It's like a video game that's interactive.
It's like a pussy video game?
Yeah, it's like a pussy video game.
Oh my God.
That's how I felt.
She's having too much fun with that thing.
All right.
Okay, so there's that piece.
I didn't ask Anthony Asante, who is our guest, though, about OMGS. I should have asked him.
If he's ever seen it?
Yeah.
Where did he learn his pussy pleasing skills?
Totally.
He does have his... Yeah. So that was why, we didn't ask that question. Who taught you how to pleasure the pussy?
I know. Next time. He had a mentor, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they actually taught him how to please the pussy, though.
I don't know. They showed him a diagram.
Yes, you like stroke.
See, that sounds
but
boring.
OMGS would give you feedback. See, a diagram doesn't do jack shit.
It's called 2018, folks. We have so many resources now for sex. I'm so excited
technology
to be a human today.
All right,
Did
everyone.
you have one more announcement?
No, I think that was it. We're kind of in a little quirky mood. My brain is like, we just got back from New York and then we're going to Germany in a couple days. So my brain is kind of mush.
I suggested recording a podcast on the airplane. Amy was like, nah.
I am so out of it. I didn't even hear you suggest that.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm going to be high as a kite on the airplane. I do not do long flights without being like super medicated.
I'm going to be poking her with like a long stick to make sure she's still alive.
Yeah, no, I like to be super medicated. I mean, I can fly, like do a 5-hour flight fine, but you putting me on an 11-hour flight, I am highly medicated in my seat, and it is wonderful.
Well, we're gonna record a podcast in Germany, so stay tuned, y'all.
Stay tuned. Okay, you ready for the straight male escort, Anthony Asante?
Let's do this.
Here we go. All right, everyone. Podcast time as promised. And before we dive in, I'm going to read the bio about our guest speaker. So Anthony Asante is a Washington, D.C. based straight male escort providing warm, sensual, and professional companionship full-time to women only. A sensual warrior who's one of the world's first and only straight male companions, catering exclusively to women, certified in bondage and providing exclusively to women. To learn more, visit anthonyasante.com. Welcome, Anthony. Hot bio.
Hey.
Hi. I sound really good on that. I'd like to meet that guy.
I think a lot of listeners are saying, they're like, okay, so how do I get to Washington, D.C.?
I know.
Well, we're really excited. Yeah, happy to have you on here. So it's funny, like a couple months ago, April and I were talking about how we need more men on the show. And then we got a lot of men on the show all of a sudden. And it still is something because, we are two women leading the show. It's just really nice to have a man's voice, and it's really nice to have a man's voice who does the work that you do. So we've been really excited about this. We've been talking about it for a long time.
It's true.
Thank you.
So can
Wow.
you tell us about yourself and how you have a really amazing profession. We absolutely love what you're doing, and going over your website, it's really phenomenal. You have a lot of different skill set, but can you tell us how how'd you get where you are today?
Sure. And first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. And as I mentioned in an email, I think it's great that you all have a non-apologetic um, take on sexuality for women and for yourselves. I love it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead.
So about you, tell us, how did you get
Okay.
to where you are today? How do you get to being a straight male escort, a sensual warrior?
And wait, is Gigolo not PC? Because I was wondering, is Escort the most like how I want to know.
is Gigolo?
I know what is it?
Okay. All right. Uh, I think today they are interchangeable. Some time ago there was a delineation. Today, for the most part, they are the same. With the exception that gigolo means exclusively women. Male escort or male escort could be a guy who caters to both men and women. Straight male escort uh, um, sort sort of uh, has that connotation that you provide companionship strictly to women. But for the most part, when one says a straight male escort catering to women, and someone else mentions gigolo, they are pretty much the same.
Okay, got it. Okay. All right, good to know. And but a gigolo is not offensive. Like if I were to say, "Oh, you work as a gigolo," is that like a PC term? Is it offensive? Is it like doesn't feel that good?
Not to me. Some women, uh, very few, uh, but some are actually intimidated by that term. I remember a woman a couple of years ago who contacted me, and then she sort of went out of contact. We hammered out some details, and I never heard from her again. Did you need time?
Okay. So it was just a little bit, intimidating, I guess is the word. Is just a little too much. I don't know. I don't know why. Yeah, it's interesting how terminology really makes a big difference for folks. So
Yeah, and she went on to actually tell me that term intimidates me. Can you use something else?
like, okay, straight male escort. Does that work for you? So how did you get to where you are today then? How does
Okay.
one what is
All right.
the process, the journey?
Well, for me, it was unique. I was working in IT. I worked in the IT field for many, many years. I got tired of it and decided to go to law school. And in my second year of law school, I met a lawyer, female. We had a great conversation. Um, she asked me out for dinner, and she made a neat and decent proposal, as I call it. She wanted me to provide her some joy and some passion and some excitement. She was at the top of her game professionally, but in her personal romantic life, it wasn't. It was a totally different story. So she decided to um, um, engage a guy um, for pay, and instead of going to an escort agency, she decided to pop the question with me because we were already connecting and we're building rapport. And that was something that was very important to her. And she may not have automatically received that by going through an escort agency. So um, later on, she introduced me to some of her professional friends that were in the same boat. And that's how Anthony Asante got started. Oh, I have to add one more thing. Um, I started to research the business. I found a mentor and another guy that wrote books and counseled um, budding male escorts, and I paid for their time, and they told me the do's and don'ts, and they took me under their wing and taught me everything that I needed to know. So that's Anthony Asante.
That's great. That's awesome. It's someone you always need a good mentor, no matter
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
doing professionally. And it's a big, scary world out there. So having a mentor for sex work specifically and
Mhm.
for your kind of work, I mean, and over the years, I'm sure, I don't know, how long have you been servicing women all over?
Uh, I started in 2011, so I guess it would be 7 years.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, yeah, 7 years.
So I'm sure you learn more and more with every experience.
Of course.
And so, I mean, when most folks think about sex workers, they think that it's specifically going to serve the male population. And obviously, that isn't so. Obviously, there's plenty of women that you're, paying attention to their sexual desires and their sensual experiences. And what do you think? Why is this important? And why do you think women's desires? Why do you think they desire to pay for passion?
Okay. Actually, I think that they're paying for something a little more than passion. What I've found is that many women are, it's really a take on the society itself. Women are in the position in which they have to assert their masculine nature. You know, we all have both qualities, male and female. In fact, biologically, everyone starts out at female, uh, uh, as a female, and probably what 6 to 10 weeks into gestation. Um, if you're going to become a male, you grow a penis instead of a vagina. You instead of ovaries, those ovaries become testicles. But anyway, what happens is that there is in my opinion, there is a lack of balance between the masculine and the feminine. If one stays out of their balance ratio too long, there becomes problems. I think that women, because they are in situations where they have to fend for themselves, where they are making decisions about so many different things, um, where they are in positions where they may be the CEO, the president, whatever it is. Um, they tend to um, upset the balance between their femininity and their masculinity. And men do the same thing also. If we're in positions where we are in the feminine role too long, if you stay outside of what your natal spiritual um, um, your natal spiritual role is, there becomes problems. What I believe, what women are really seeking is they want to feel my or some other male escorts masculinity so that they can feel their own femininity.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, a woman does not need a man to pull out a chair or to open a door, but it sure makes a woman feel good when a man does
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that. I don't necessarily need a woman to cook for me. I I cook for myself. I learned how to cook early. My mother taught me how to do it. But God, it feels good when a woman makes food. So it is being in those roles, or being able to feel yourself counterbalanced by the opposite gender's a role that makes, in the case of a woman, makes her feel so good that she's willing to pay for that connection. And that's what they're really paying for. They're paying for that connection in which they can feel their own femininity through a guy's masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps not having to, as you were saying, they're most of the women that you're servicing, it sounds like, are in some power positions, and they tend to get into these roles where they're constantly having to decide big things, and it's nice for you to do the work for them in terms of what a typical relationship maybe they're desiring out of it, but they're getting it from you. You can kind of take the pressure off.
Exactly. Most of the, as you mentioned, most are in roles in which they are making decisions all the time. And most of the time, they want me just to make the decisions. This is what we're going to do. This is where we're going. We're going to have a great time. And they trust that, I am going to deliver. Um, and so that is really what I see. And one doesn't necessarily have to be in those a CEO or in those power jobs. The nature of femininity and the nature of masculinity sort of dictates that, in that women, for lack of a better term, from what I've seen so far, tend to be less aggressive. Men tend to be aggressive. Women tend to um, be flexible. Men tend to be inflexible. So one wants to be who they naturally, what their spirit or gender um, uh, tends to want to be. And I want to make this clear. I'm glad that women are taking on these roles. What I advocate is a balance, and bringing balance back to the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's not like I going back to the point where it's not about I need a woman to cook for me. A woman needs a man to hold a door open for them. It's that it feels nice, and so there's this part of it that just kind of balances things out, where someone can take a step back and let someone else take care of them, I guess. And I think the masculinity and femininity thing too. There's just so much more. I guess you would call it research, but information about how it's really awesome what we're doing with like the Me Too movement and the feminist movements, and women who are starting to, I guess they're predicting that women will actually be making more money than men at some point overall, and but that doesn't mean that they're taking away all the other roles that women are doing too, right? So they're working really hard, making all the money, and still running a household, and not always, but I could see why it would tip it would tip the balance, and that women would be operating more in this like linear doer, I got this, I'm self-sufficient, got to take care of myself, masculine, and why the men that they're in relationships with or are dating aren't showing up in that masculine. Also, one, there's not a lot of room for it. Two, the men might not be socialized that way. So for a woman to find someone such as yourself, where there's no strings attached, and you're a professional who can just show up in the way that their system is craving, how nice that could feel to just be like, okay, I could just like let go here and let this person here, whatever it is I'm craving. Maybe it is they're craving for you to be more in your feminine, but like whatever that is, for you to just show up in that way. So I think that's and one of the questions we had was like, why is Why do we hear about sex work happening more so for men paying for sex work to have sex with women, or not even just sex, but to have companionship with women? Why aren't we hearing the roles reversed? And I think that's, that's all part of it, of why, like the shadow side, or not the shadow, but why it's kind of in the shadows. It's just, it's filling a void that people aren't even considering. So in terms of the sessions you do, so you said there's companionship is a really big thing, but I know that you do, from looking at your website, you do bondage, you do sensual massage, you do the boyfriend experience, companionship, you do couples work. What do all these sessions look like? And I'm sure it's very diverse, but can you tell us a little bit about the dynamics of the sessions that you offer folks?
Sure. First, let me know who's who first.
This is Amy speaking now.
Amy. Okay, Amy. And April. All right. You're right, Amy. All of them are very different. In fact, I pride myself on saying on no two sessions, I refer to them as adventures, ever being the same, even with the same client. Having said that, always find out what is it that they would like, and or what is it that would be the most perfect adventure for them, and then I'll come up with some recommendations. I have had, well, one of the most recent ones, a woman called me and wanted to go do something physical outside. I recommended actually go-kart racing. We did that for a number of hours. I felt that she wanted to, or that she needed to do something physical, feel like a kid again. Other clients may want just a bondage. Other ones may want something more intimate. Some may just want to talk on the phone. Some want it all. And that's where the boyfriend experience comes in. But there is nothing that is common in every session, because it's always different. Even with couples, some couples want to do this, some couples want to do that. Generally with couples, there tends to be something more sexual oriented, but that hasn't always been the case. But generally with couples, it is.
Sexual oriented, like, would it be more so you being intimate with the female partner? Because I mean, you specialize in working, you only work with women, and then the male partner watching, or what does that mean?
It has been with the male partner watching, and has been with the male partner joining us after a certain amount of time.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We've had people that have asked about that. Like, how do we find, we want to have a threesome. How do we have a threesome? How do we find this other person? And like, yeah, there you go. And then you get a professional who knows what the hell they're doing. And then once again, the biggest fear that people have about that is the strings attached, right? That's like a no strings attached once again.
And you're good at what you do, obviously, because you've been doing it for so long. So you were kind of the perfect counterpart for that. So that's great.
I like to always joke that, well, I am a professional. So, well, maybe that didn't go over well. When people say I'm good at what I do.
I am a professional. Yeah.
So
we can't see you.
So I know.
Like, wait.
Yes, he's a professional. Yeah, you got to have like the smile that goes with it too. So I have one other question before we move on about that. So would you say though, on average, when you are seeing a client, meeting with a woman, she's your client, is there actual like sexual intimacy, or is that happens most of the time, or is it more companionship most of the time? Like, what? I know that we said that you said that the companionship is what they're mostly looking for, and they're looking for someone that can help them bounce like the masculine and feminine. But is sex, intimacy, and actual physical bodies touching in a sexual way a big part of it, or is it the other part that's bigger for you?
It all depends, but what I've noticed is that, and you know this also, that when a man and woman are together and you're connecting, and things are going, just great. The chemistry is just great. 99.9% of the time, something's going to happen between them. And most of the time, the clients are open to it, to something happening. So, and if it does happen, great. They have a great time. We both have a great time together.
So it's still about the chemistry and the connection.
It's always about the chemistry, the connection, and her feeling safe and comfortable.
Which is also takes the pressure off. Again, it's like,
Yes.
hey, a sexual experience doesn't have to be the end result. There's no goal-oriented situation here. It's whatever. Yeah, it's all about you. Like, we have an itinerary, but we could get off that itinerary depending on the connection, the chemistry of the evening. I could cook you some food. I could be eating sushi off your titties.
Right? Massage. Yeah, take you go-karting. Yeah, it depends on what you need. I like that. So, I mean, that's another refreshing thing is that the no goals and no pressure, but also that sex doesn't always have to be on the table, or sex is only on the table when someone feels really deeply connected and safe. And if they don't, then there's, again, no pressure. So, I mean, I wonder, so do you feel like, are people coming to you more so to feel like, are you getting folks that are coming to you to practice? Like, are women coming to you to practice with you so that they know how to ask for what they want in other relationships with men? And is it more for practice, more for pleasure, more for companionship, more for healing? I mean, is it all of it?
There's less of the practice part. I did have one client who wanted to try some things out with me so that she'd be more comfortable trying it out with men, her partners. I had one that contacted me that wanted to really explicitly try out something, but did not feel confident doing it with her boyfriend at the time. But that was really just, to my knowledge, 2 times a woman had approached me. Usually what it's really about is, let's have some companionship, let's have some connection, let's do something more intimate if in fact I feel safe and we're connecting and we have good chemistry. That is probably 80, maybe 90% of our adventures.
So, okay. We've talked before on our show about the SESTA and FOSTA laws that were passed. Do you know anything about that? And has that affected your business? Because it's affected a lot of other sex workers across the U.S., perhaps across the globe, just because of Backdoor and Craigslist. And I know you have your own website, but obviously a lot of the folks that are speaking out are a lot of female-bodied sex workers, and you're obviously a male-bodied sex worker. I just wanted to know, because of safety issues, like a lot of those folks had to take to the streets to get work or take, less desirable situations where they could do background checks before and they could pre-run their credit cards to make sure they were going to actually get the money. So I was just curious if you've been affected by the SESTA FOSTA laws.
I have directly and indirectly. Directly, some of my clients have been female sex workers. And again, it goes back to they, like any other woman, wants to feel warmth. They want to feel connected. They want to be satiated. They want to feel whole. They want to feel and their own femininity through masculinity, through someone else's, through a guy's masculinity. So because they weren't working as much, they can't afford to hire me, or they felt that they needed to pull back. That was directly. Indirectly, there were not very many advertising venues pre-Foster, but definitely post-Foster, there's even less places where straight male escorts can hire, can advertise. So.
Yeah.
And I think for our listeners that haven't heard about this, we have past episodes. One was with, was it Kim?
Kim?
Yeah, Kimberly K.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kimberly K. I forgot what number episode that was, but we talk about the laws and what recently happened. And it was a crackdown to try to end human trafficking. But what it really, and they were cracking down on the databases like Craigslist where people were advertising sex work, but really what it also did was it just made it so everything had to go underground and didn't necessarily make it safe for people. And a lot of the sex workers we've talked to, it's just making things a little more sketchy and challenging, and just another way that the ye old government's trying to control what we do with our bodies.
And they're just lastly on that, to not stay political, because this is a really sexy guest that we have on, so I don't want to get too political. But lastly, if any of our listeners are interested, there's a Netflix documentary that just came out, 17 minutes long. So it gives you, it's by BuzzFeed, just put it out. It's called oh God, I'm gonna have to click through my memory bank. It's a new series, but it's about like Click This or something, and it's a 17-minute just rundown about what those laws are. So it's called Whore's Day. The episode's called Whore's Day, which is awesome.
Oh wow.
Whore's Day. I want to read a line from your website that I like.
Ooh,
it's
you have to read it sexy.
Okay. So from AnthonyAsante.com, Anthony says, some women work to get pleasure. Wait, oops, already fucked it up. Damn it. All right. That's what happens. You try to be sexy. See, you can't try these things. Then it gets weird in my head. Okay, here we go again. Some men work to get pleasure from women. Bringing pleasure to women is my work. I didn't say it the right way, but anyways, you say some men get.
Wait,
yeah,
can I do it?
Yeah, April do it.
Some men work to get pleasure from women. Bringing pleasure to women is my work.
Oh, good job.
Good job, April.
Great job. Mic drop.
She's hired. She's joining you in the workforce. I like this. I like this statement, like that there is in society a lot of women are used to men trying to get something from them and to receive pleasure from them, and it's a very penis-centric society. And that you're saying that your work, you know, your this is what you're all about, is bringing pleasure to women. It's all about the women. And I'm curious, and I kind of asked this a little bit before, but I'm wondering also, do you feel, because we asked about if you're teaching women a lot of things, but do you feel like you're healing a lot of aspects for them too? There these things that are missing in their relationships of what that they're getting or not getting in there from men?
Would you ask your question again, please?
Yeah, I mean, so do you find that your work is actually is it a healing work? You know, is when you're going on these dates with women, you're providing the companionship, and then you're touching them, and they're touching you, and you're showing up in this way where you're not trying to get pleasure from them; you're there just to pleasure. Do you find that that's healing for them, for a lot of your clients?
Actually, I find, well, that part, the actual touching, is healing. However, a big part of the healing is just a masculine man having so much masculinity that it helps a woman feel her own femininity, which brings balance back to the woman, which really is the essence of health,
Mm-hmm.
the balance part.
Mm-hmm.
It brings the balance psychologically and even physically uh, more often than not. In fact,
Yeah.
it used to be that women would go and we would see these old movies with Cary Grant and Clark Gable, where the woman would be on the couch talking to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and she would be getting her mental issues taken care of. Well, that's not as pretty much these days. You get when you go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, you get doped up on a lot of medicines versus the actual um, um, counseling. Uh, and what happens here, at least in my practice, is that we go into a number of different modalities from great conversations to physical touching to heck, I even did a session with a woman where we would even go into, are you familiar with prognostication? Some people use, what do they call those? The
Electros.
little card, the cards, where people, I forgot what they're called. I'll come back to it.
Yeah, it'll come back.
But it's all in the process of uh, actually um, healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I
Mm.
like that. That balance is healing, so that it through the balance that itself is is a healing process.
Not only that, some women have told me that they are having better relations with their partners by engaging me. So that relationship that they have with their husbands or boyfriends also became healed
Yeah,
through their engagements with me.
and that their partners don't usually know that they're engaging with you though, but they're still able to show up in a better way in their partnership after
Some
experiencing.
do,
Yeah.
some do not.
Yeah, I that's one thing with affairs, whether it's with someone a hired sex worker or not, that uh, not always, but sometimes affairs can work that way to actually
Yeah.
help people show up as better partners, whether it's sexually or emotionally, and so I totally believe that. I think a lot of people would have a hard time with it because they have very specific opinions on what's okay and what's not okay. But if you can think outside of that box, that if you think of someone goes and does their own healing or gets their own educational experience or whatever, um, when they show up back in the relationship part, they might be a little more whole, a little more knowledgeable and more in tune with themselves, and in turn be able to show up as a better partner. And I'm not necessarily saying advocating for that everyone should go and have a whole bunch of affairs so you could be a badass partner. And I wouldn't necessarily say that it's always going to hurt the relationship.
Just hire a professional in your relationship.
Yeah, no strings attached.
No strings attached.
Yeah.
Hire
Yeah.
Anthony Asante.
Yeah.
So, Anthony, do you have any tips for those male listeners out there who want to learn to be better lovers?
Sure. Um, April, I've been thinking that men really do need to be able to genuinely put their own sexual gratification to the side and make their woman's sexual gratification the focal point, the thrust of that experience.
Yes.
Yeah. We're not going to disagree with that. Yeah, everyone, you heard that. Mm-hmm.
And I think that is where that, well, if that happens, then what's going to be automatically involved or should be automatically involved is a lot more foreplay. I know guys, you know, always think that as soon as they are revved up, the woman is revved up. And there's been so many studies, and that actually says the opposite. And really, one does not even have to go back to those studies. They can just look at their woman and know that they are not, the woman is not ready just because they're ready. They need to have at least, I would say, for the most part, at least 30 minutes um, of foreplay
Yeah,
before
this
anything.
30 minutes, everyone. Did you hear that? 30 minutes. Most people are spending like 3 minutes.
30 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you have 30 minutes to watch a TV show, you have 30 minutes to pleasure your partner.
This is true.
Yeah.
And this isn't, I mean, this is speaking to everyone too. I know plenty of women that are like, I have to spend 5 minutes playing with his cock. Like, it's 5 minutes
Get
of
into your
pleasure.
Body and enjoy the sensations.
Yeah. Many people don't know that there are many primary, secondary, and tertiary erotic zones, and one should really, you know, hit them all.
In one
And
session.
I'm sorry.
In one session, hit them all.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
You don't just go right to primary. It's like, okay, we kiss for 2 seconds. I'm going right for the pussy. This is why people are going to go see people like Anthony, who know not to do that and can actually touch bodies in the way that feels that is welcoming and also is appreciative and considerate of what individual body needs and wants. It's gonna be, I'm sure it's different for plenty of women too, right? One woman's warmed up in 10 minutes, another one's in 40 minutes, and it just you can't. And there's a lot of things I think in relationships like, well, my last girlfriend, she had an orgasm in 5 minutes. What's wrong with you?
Every woman is different. Every woman is unique.
And that's what makes them special.
Oh, and I may want to add, and I think you did touch into this, Amy. When you hit those erotic zones, you start from the tertiary, then to the secondary, and then to the primary. Yeah.
So what was it? What's the of a tertiary erotic zone? Is that like your arms and something that people call wouldn't associate with sex? Is it with tertiary arms and your back and your belly and the
anything
calves?
that is, hold out your hand. Just hold out your hand right now. Okay. April, take your fingertip and just gently slide it against
my
Amy.
hand, not your hand. She's touching her own hand.
Your
oh yeah.
I'm sorry, your
she's doing it. It feels good.
Now try your fingernail. Turn it over and try it with your fingernail.
Oh yeah, different sensation. Sensation. He's watching us on video, everyone, so he's actually like making sure she's doing it.
Amy, how does that feel?
That's nice. She says my hand is sweaty. She's complaining. She's complaining already. Don't do that when you're touching. So it feels really good, and this is one of those things where something that wouldn't generally. Thank you. She says she likes some sweaty palm. Something that wouldn't generally be associated with being erotic can all of a sudden feel sensual.
Yeah.
Yvonne?
Yes.
Anthony, do you just want to watch this? Is that
No, you can stop now. I'm just making a point.
What's next? What's the next step? Okay, now nipples, go. April, take your top off. Wait, whoa, this got escalated really quickly. That's fun. I like this. This is good. He's good at what he does. Her shirt's off now. Just kidding. Okay, this is awesome. This has been really, really great. I mean, I feel like I think that this is just giving a voice to the profession, to the diversity of the profession, to women. I mean, you're essentially an advocate for women. You're supporting women's sexual pleasure, and I've always feel like it's so refreshing to have have a man's voice on our team, on our side, to promote our pleasure. So thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. And we already said your website in the beginning. It's anthonyasante.com. So is this the best way for people to work with you? Is just to go to your website?
Yeah, just go to the website. You probably want to read the homepage, and any other page that you want. There's a whole lot of information on that. I've spent the last 4 years building it up. But you definitely want to take a look at the donation page as well as the booking page, and fill out the booking page if you want to um, spend some time with me.
Do you do consultations too? Like if people want to talk to you and get to a feel for you on the phone for however long, to make sure it's a good fit?
Sure. I do. I don't necessarily call them, refer to them as consultations. It's more so just getting a feel for me. Some women request it. I always leave it up to them. Some women don't want it. They already know that they want to see me. But there have been a few that have asked, just to connect with me over the phone. And we've done that before. So, and of course, if you have a question, please feel free to connect with me.
Awesome. That was Anthony Asante, everyone. Thank you, Anthony. Can't wait to have this episode available to all. So if you are into spicy, sex in general, and hit up Anthony, or just, you want to cook you some dinner, because I was reading your website. Yeah, I'm like, I love the fact that you cook and you massage. I want all of those things all at once. So it's been a pleasure spending this afternoon with you, and we hope you out there in listening land enjoyed having Anthony on the show. We will see you next Tuesday for another episode of Shameless Sex, y'all. Ciao for now.
Don't forget to head on over to our website at shamelesssex.com for more. And for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code SHAMELESSPP in all caps at purepleasureshop.com.